everyone, it's Pixelade here, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. So the big news is finally here. The Sims 4 Adventure Awaits expansion pack has been officially revealed. We've got the trailer, we've got a full blog post, and I want to break down absolutely everything because there is a lot jam-packed in here. So I'll be mixing my own thoughts as we go, both the things I'm genuinely excited about and some of the concerns I definitely can't ignore. Now, before we go any further into today's video, of course, I want to shout out Instant Gaming, the sponsor of the video and the channel. August giveaway has wrapped up and we do have a winner, XO_lover. I saw that you've already claimed your prize and it was the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. So thank you for entering. And of course, again, congrats. Now a brand new month has opened and that means another giveaway. You can win any game, pack, or DLC of your choice, whether it's The Sims or not. My affiliate and giveaway links are below if you want to get in on that. And while you're down there, you can also save up to 70% on Sims packs and DLC and up to 90% off of games in general. I'll have a link directly to the Adventure Awaits store page, though note it is not available to pre-order yet through Instant Gaming, but codes will be coming soon, so definitely bookmark that page. Personally, I always recommend waiting to pre-order through Instant Gaming instead of the EA app because with those creator codes, you don't actually get a discount. They get commission and so do I, but you'll pay full price. But if you use my link for Instant Gaming, you'll still support me and you'll save money on the pack when the codes go up. So starting with the trailer, my first impression is honestly really positive. I think it looks a lot better than most of us were expecting. We did see some concepts that feel familiar, but there are also a ton of activities that seem brand new or at least fleshed out in ways we've never had before. Just from the reveal, we caught glimpses of hide and seek, butterfly catching, the world's largest geyser acting as a tourist attraction, kayaking, though I'm really hoping it's not single sim only because that would be disappointing if it is. There's also a challenge wheel with things like activity shuffle, romance competitions, eliminations, cooking contests, and creative skill contests. So it looks like maybe we're getting some sort of reality TV gameplay. Plus we have modular playgrounds, pool slides. There is so much here to unpack. So the blog post introduces us properly to the new world of Gibby Point. This world is absolutely gorgeous. Wow. It is obviously inspired heavily by New Zealand, which I'm really happy about because it's refreshing to get a setting that's not based in either the US or Europe for once. The mountains, the hills, the geyser, even the way the water looks, it is all stunning to me. Some simmers have said it resembles Granite Falls or Sulani, and I can kind of see why, but to me it feels different enough to stand on its own. Granite Falls was more forest heavy. Sulani is obviously tropical, while this is clearly something else. Not really tropical at all, but instead very land of down under. So I definitely think the world itself makes a very, very strong impression. But of course, with a big new world like this, my mind goes straight to performance. This game already struggles with lag and of course the infamous save corruption issue that's still haunting simmers. And I think adding a world this detailed and some new systems that we're gonna go over that are layered on top, I really can't help but wonder if we'll see stability problems or bugs carried over from older packs like what happened with For Rent. Now, I really do want to stay optimistic, but those concerns are in the back of my mind. So Gibby Point has 3 neighborhoods. We have Wanderwood Wilds, Crystal Valley, and Jellyfish Junction. Each one has its own vibe and its own getaway. Wanderwood Wilds is forest heavy with erupting geysers and camp life at Camp Gibby Gibby. Crystal Valley has sparkling rock formations and a cozy retreat called Love Highland. I'm assuming that's a play on Love Island. And lastly, Jellyfish Junction is a waterfront area where you'll find Revive and Thrive, which is more of a fitness and wellness spot. They're clearly trying to give each area its own personality, which I think is smart. So this ties directly into the brand new Getaway system. Now, on paper, this sounds like one of the biggest additions the pack is bringing. You'll have Getaway venues, a Getaway planner, and the ability to actually set rules and activities. I will admit though, I am cautious here. They didn't show too much in the trailer, and sometimes when EA teases a big system, it ends up being fairly surface level. I'm really hoping we're getting a new lot type that can be placed in any world, because if we're locked to just pre-made getaways, that would be a huge letdown. The blog makes it sound like you can design your own escapes, apply rules like eliminations, and even share them to the gallery. Now, if that is true, that could genuinely be game-changing because it expands older worlds too. Imagine building getaways in Granite Falls or Sulani and tying them into existing packs. That is the kind of integration The Sims 4 needs more of. But again, until we see more in a deep dive or possibly EA creator content, I am staying cautiously optimistic. The activities are another big highlight here. Kids are finally getting lots and lots of love, highly requested among Simmers. We have papercraft, archery, diving, entomology, hide and seek, rock, paper, scissors, and customizable playgrounds. Honestly, that modular playground set has me the most excited out of everything in this trailer. My jaw dropped and I screamed when I saw that. Seeing kids climb and even running up the slide in the trailer was so neat. And then for adults, we have kayaking, water slides, pool slides, and fitness activities tied into the retreat spaces. So it is a nice balance, but what I really love is that kids aren't being ignored this time. I've said before, adults in The Sims usually get everything and kids are left with scraps, honestly crumbs, and this pack definitely feels like a correction to that. But with all of that said, the skeptic in me does have a lot of questions. First and foremost, kayaking. Are we going to get multi-sim use? I don't want to see one sim in a kayak. Now, archery does look fun, but I suspect it'll likely be very short range and limited, probably only taking up a couple of tiles. I'm also curious as to how deep the whole diving thing is gonna go. I will say the animations in the trailer looked so neat. That's probably where most of the budget went to for this expansion pack, honestly, just the animations overall. Now, one of the most talked about reveals, imaginary friends. These are finally back and returning from The Sims 3 Generations, and I have to say I really like how they look. They're creepy and cute at the same time, almost like the little Labubu's. I think that's why I like them. There are different variants with their own personalities. We have goofball, creative, competitive, and evil, and that really is such a fun twist. I don't think it's really that gimmicky, though I'm sure Simmers are worried about that, but I do have to point out the risk here. Features like this can easily bug out. Life states and special companions have historically been some of the buggiest parts of The Sims 4. Even though I doubt this is going to be a life state, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but if it does end up being very glitchy or not functioning the way it should, I think that will be disappointing, but I'm really hoping EA gets it right, because the idea of these being introduced and the fact that they have variants is pretty fantastic, honestly. So I want to talk about careers. The pack is going to introduce the park worker career, which does have 2 branches. We have camp counselor and park ranger, and honestly they didn't give much detail on this, so I'm assuming this is going to be a rabbit hole career. Now, if it is deeper, maybe something more like a freelance setup, then I think that will be a pleasant surprise, but until we see otherwise, I'm definitely reserving my expectations. The blog also touches on quests, which is not a new angle for The Sims 4 at all. So with this, you'll get tasks from locals. One of them might even be the last surviving large plum bird, and you can take part in mini stories. I like the idea, but again, I fear it'll be repetitive. Cottage living, enchanted by nature, and even some limited time events all have very similar fetch quest style gameplay, so that will get old fast for me, I fear, but it definitely might add some fun flavor at first, but that novelty will wear off quick. quick. Now back to the Getaway system, there's also the elimination rules angle, basically letting you run reality show style competitions. They don't go into too much detail about this, but it does sound like a fun idea. You could totally create Love Island, I guess, if you wanted to, but it also sounds like something that could be extremely buggy. The AI routing and autonomy in this game is already pretty shaky, and I think that, throwing in eliminations and competitions could expose those weaknesses pretty fast. Again, it is going to come down to execution. Now, another part of the blog was about the community builds. So EA brought in JJ Bink, Danielle Builds, Griffey, Kiwi Sims Cade, and Axie Sims to design custom venues and lots for the pack. And I think this is fantastic. EA's own builds have been criticized since the start of The Sims 4, honestly. So I think leaning on community creators is a smart move. And honestly, the results do speak for themselves. I love that Danielle was included because her builds are amazing. I love her over on TikTok. Definitely go follow her and support her. She is a wonderful, wonderful human outside of just being a creator. Now, with that said, I know some simmers will look at this and say it highlights EA's reliance on outside talent to make packs look good, and I definitely agree with that to an extent, but at the end of the day, I would much rather have quality builds and let the Sims team focus their clearly limited resources on gameplay systems and adding new activities and such. Plus, it gives creators well-deserved recognition, which I will always support. The blog also covers the soundtrack. We have artists like Umi, Naomi Scott, and Chloe Moriando, all featured, all in Simlish, of course. For me personally, music in Sims packs has never really been a selling point. I usually mute it and listen to something else on Apple Music while I play anyways, but I know for some players the new songs will be a nice addition. Then we have our early purchase incentives. We have a lamp, a tea kettle, and socks. To be honest, I've never really been impressed by these. They're always smaller things that I don't feel like you absolutely need. And honestly, if you're on PC, these will end up as custom content package files anyway, so definitely don't feel pressured to pre-order just for them. At least this time you can still claim them for a while after the launch, which is better than previous incentives. But overall, I think this expansion looks a lot better than what players were expecting based on the leaks and teasers that we've seen prior. Yes, some of it feels like reused concepts, but there's also a ton of genuinely new content packed in here, and I think it is worth pointing out that this is coming from the Life and Death team, which delivered one of the stronger expansions recently, so that definitely gives me hope that this will be more polished than some of the weaker releases we've had. My concerns still stand though. I'm worried about performance and stability. The quests and elimination system could be shallow or buggy. Imaginary friends could end up glitchy, and I truly still believe that at $40 expansion packs are just still way overpriced for what they usually offer. But I have to say, compared to other recent expansion packs, I think this one is definitely shaping up to be at least closer to worth that price, and I don't say that lightly. So Adventure Awaits is going to be releasing on October 2nd, and I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on early access previews and reviews before making my own personal final call. But I think it's shaping up to be a pretty good expansion pack, despite the current state of the game. But I want to hear what you guys think. What are your thoughts on the expansion? Do you think the new systems like Getaway Planner and Imaginary Friends will land well, or are you more skeptical? And how do you feel about Gibby Point as a world? Do you see the New Zealand inspiration the way I do? Let me know all of your thoughts and comments and constructive feedback down below. That's always welcome as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and happy life simming, guys.